Good evening.
Yay! Statistically, by the way, he's actually right. This congressional district, and I'm sure the 49th, is out of 435 congressional districts, is the second most educated in the country.
Oh, only
And only Upper East Side of New York. But 6,000 college graduates away from taking them over. And looking out, we're definitely the best looking. And I want to thank Nicholas and Molly so much for inviting us again to the historic Alcova House. My son-in-law, whom I love dearly, the father of my grandchildren, worked for Nicholas for years at CGI. And you did a good job raising them. And what I hadn't realized, though, is that this is part of my family history. The Alcova House, if you go look on the Arlington Historic website, it says the oldest part of this house dates from 1836, when John M. Young, a Washington wheelwright and carriage maker, purchased the farm from a Thomas Hodges. And then he planted a large orchard and he used the place as a summer house. But then in 1915, the farm was acquired by Virginia State Senator Joseph Cloyd Beyer, who several years later expanded the home, and Senator Beyer named the house Alcova for Alexandria County, which is the original name of Arlington County, but before they moved to Alexandria City, Arlington County. So, welcome to Alcova House. By the way, I should care about the governor of New Jersey also. I mean, Chris Christie's made it really easy, but Phil Murphy, who's a dear friend of mine, was the first Obama ambassador to Germany, and a wonderful guy who married a Virginia Beach car dealer's daughter. This could be the next governor.
We'll like New Jersey too. Romeo and Juliet.
And, it's been interesting talking to you tonight because, I mean, there's so many of us, I think, that in the last 61 days have been filled with grief and anger and a little disbelief and a sense of, this is not the America that we expected. We lived through, Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush and George Bush and Richard Nixon for some of us, but never got this level of racism and misogyny and xenophobia and just carelessness with our country. And it's an emotional struggle, at least for me, and I think for many of us every day, trying to figure out what to do and trying to find ways to create a sense of hope and mission and the energy to fight back. And there will be 100 million different construction reactions that we each have as Americans to what a Trump administration means. And I just want to give you at least three. Well, first, I am so grateful to be your congressman. I feel like I've been given the gift that so many of us want to have, which is to speak, to write, to introduce legislation, to vote no again and again, to be angry and strong every single day. But that ability to fight back is not limited to somebody that has a chance to vote a couple of times a week. All of us can speak wherever we can, to write letters to the editor, to speak at school and at work, and to fight back. I can't tell you, how many times have we heard somebody say, is this like 1933 in Germany? The slippery slope towards a fascist, towards a totalitarian, towards giving up so many human rights. And the difference was that if you look at Germany in the 1930s, they actually they didn't welcome Hitler, but they welcomed the economic surge and things like, we can't legitimize this. We can't roll over. We can't be complacent. We really do have to fight back every single day. And the second thing I'd offer is one of the ways we fight back, besides just politically, is in the service that we give to others. Noah Simon, my wonderful Arlington friend, Noah's put together the Path Forward at Wakefield High School coming up in a week from tomorrow. It's already sold out at 600 people. If you really want to come see him, it'll sneak you by the fire marshal. We're also live streaming it on the Twitter account at Rep. Don Beyer and on Facebook and all that. But the whole goal is, for me to be a Democrat, is to serve others, is to be aware of the people without the economic, political, and social power that many of us have. And what we're going to try to do that night is just to link each of us with the many, many, many wonderful nonprofits and advocacy groups here so that we can make our lives be arguments. we can lift others up. And finally, some of you remember Ira Lester. Not many of you are old enough to remember, but Susan and I do. Sharon and I do from 1982.
I remember.
So some quick math, which Lowell will appreciate. 2 years ago, 2014, I got 63% of the vote. I got 148,000 votes. This year, Hillary Clinton at the top of the ticket, Tim Kaine, I got 246,000 votes. There's a 98,000 votes difference. That's not as nice as 98,000 more votes. The key is those 98,000 votes will go away again in 2018. And I'm not, so this isn't big for me. But for Alfonso, who's living in a 66-34 Virginia House of Delegates district, was it 14 of those districts held by Republicans were won by Hillary Clinton? 17 of them, Donald Trump got no more than 46% of the vote. We can win all 17 of those if we get the 2016 voters to show up in 2017. But what that means is that we need A++ precinct work from every single person in this room and every single Democrat in Virginia. To get the people that only show up in a presidential year, who are Democrats who will vote for us, to show up in 17, to show up in 18. And so it's political activism, political leadership. We don't have to create anybody new. We just have to get the people that are already out there. And so there's so much that we can do to fight back, to feel good about, I feel good about Donald Trump, but to feel good about what we're doing to stand up to him. What is the whole notion, God never promised us an easy life, just a great life.
Right.
So we have a chance now to be great and to rise to those challenges. Our parents lived through the Great Depression. Our grandparents lived through the flu epidemic, World War I. And look at all of our African American friends who lived through legacies of racism. I'm just finishing Richard Reeves' book called Infamy on the Japanese internment, which you just want to cry all the way through it. What we Americans did to American citizens, not that long ago. There have been hard times before, and we can make it much better. Okay, let me be more cheerful. I love this guy. Yeah! I'm just so honored to be with Alfonso. So, look, for 3 reasons, there are many reasons. I could give you 18, but let me give you 3. Number 1, he comes to the Virginia House of Delegates, which is the longest continuously meeting legislative body in world history, with a rich legislative and executive government background. Where he ran the Capitol Hill office for Governor Tim Kaine. So everything that happened in Capitol Hill from Virginia was through this guy. He was the number 2 guy at the Small Business Administration for Barack Obama. So once again,
Number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6. With a bullet. That's what you say that though.
Top 10. Top 10.
The leader of Virginia Democrats. And I'll tell you, when I was first elected, he was the first guy saying, let me come help you figure out how to set up your office to figure out what you actually do on Capitol Hill. And so just thank God we have him. But then number 2, this is also in a place where you can get associated with 1,000 different things. He's been very clearly focused. I mean, he's been the guy trying to wean us off of fossil fuels in the Virginia General Assembly the whole 6 years he's been there. He was the founder of the Environmental Caucus. Every piece of legislation that has to do with renewables, solar, wind, geothermal is Alfonso's legislation. He's been really focused on affordable housing. The founder of the Virginia Affordable Housing Fund and the one fighting for money for it every time. We lost 28,000 affordable housing units in Arlington housing in the last generation. And he's the only one out there really fighting hard to put them back. And then, probably most relevant for us, he's a great leader of the Democratic leadership. So he's the whip in the House. By the way, he was the whip at the convention in Philadelphia too, and he really whipped it. And he's going to be a central player in the fight to get those 17 seats and take back the majority. And he's clearly been a great fighter in trying to get the fair redistricting for Virginia. And I'm just so proud that he's my friend, that he's a great leader for us. And when he takes back the Virginia House in 17, it gets us darn close. And when I help my folks take back the U.S. House in 2018, then we can be a lot more relaxed for the last 2 years before we elect a Democratic president.
Yes.